We got to drag it out for 3 hours. You could binge watch the entire first season of Afterlife instead of watching this show. That's a show about a man who wants to kill himself because his wife dies of cancer. And it's still more fun than this, okay? Spoiler alert, season 2 is on the way. So in the end, he obviously didn't kill himself. Just like Jeffrey Epstein. Shut up. I know he's your friend, but I don't care.
The Chris Tucker that we got now is Epstein Island Chris Tucker, not Smokey.
Oh, Lord. Thinking there isn't one, but the evidence will be clear. So like when I be like, all these guys are wearing dresses. Everybody's like, oh, he keeps talking about people wearing dresses. No, that is a weird thing. It's not like that. Look at it from a different way. Look at it. Show me one person that ever wore a dress in Hollywood unsuccessfully.
I came in this business saying I was going to expose. When I talked about Michael Jackson, when I talked about R. Kelly, they canceled me for these things because why would you talk about another black dude? All of these big deviants is all catching hell in 2024. It's up for all of them. It don't matter if you Diddy or whoever you is.
Katt Williams is turning up the heat on Hollywood, calling out the industry's biggest names for allegedly hiding secrets that most of us can only whisper about. And it all ties back to Ricky Gervais' shocking Golden Globes monologue, where he didn't just make jokes. He dropped hints about celebrity connections to Jeffrey Epstein, delivering truth right in the faces of the elite who thought nothing could touch them.
If you do win an award tonight, don't use it as a platform to make a political speech, right? You're in no position to lecture the public about anything. You know nothing about the real world, nothing about the real world, nothing about the real world.
And the room's reaction was priceless. Katt dives even deeper, exposing what he calls a secret network of famous figures quietly linked to Epstein. And he doesn't hold back, highlighting how these stars have stayed silent, avoided accountability, and strategically disappear from the public eye, all while their reputations and influence remain untouchable, leaving viewers questioning who really knows what behind closed doors and why the silence continues. And it gets even messier when you look at the web of alleged celebrity connections to Jeffrey Epstein, because names like Jay-Z, Oprah Winfrey, Chris Tucker, Ellen DeGeneres, Richard Gere, Eva Longoria, Leonardo DiCaprio, Kevin Spacey, and Naomi Campbell keep popping up. And it's not just casual acquaintance. Emails, public appearances, and subtle social grooming suggest a pattern, showing how these stars weren't merely friends with Epstein, but actively part of his inner circle.
I also met Jeffrey Epstein exactly one time.
Did you?
Yes, because I wanted to see who this man was. And I regretted it from the second I stepped in the door. He was abhorrent. He was evil personified. I had nightmares about it afterwards. So, you know, my heart breaks for these young women because that's how I felt. And here I'm an older woman. My God, I feel terrible for those young women. It's awful.
This is a direct character assassination. I've always said that I'm not a saint, that I am a work in progress, but I will not be held hostage by my past. What he's done is indefensible. And when I heard of what he'd done, it sickened me to my stomach, just like everybody else. Because I've had my fair share of sexual predators, and thank God that I had good people around me that protected me from this. I mean, right now I stand with the victims. I can't, you know, they're scarred for life. For life. I've rubbed shoulders with hundreds of thousands of people. The frightening conclusion here is that if the negative action of your neighbor, colleague, or even an associate can somehow make you guilty too, simply by association, then we indeed live in very worrying times. This affects us all. It is wrong, it's unfair, and it must be stopped.
No, apparently Jeffrey wrote an email to himself. That email was never sent. The email is, false. So I don't know what his thinking was there. It just reminds me, every minute I spent with him, I regret and I, apologize that I did that. It's factually true that I was only at dinners. I never went to the island. I never met any women. And so, the more that comes out, the more clear it'll be that although the time was a mistake, had nothing to do with that kind of behavior. No, apparently Jeffrey wrote an email to himself. That email was never sent. The email is, false. So I don't know what his thinking was there.
The Chris Tucker that we got now is Epstein Island Chris Tucker, not Smokey. Oh, Lord.
You knew Jeffrey Epstein, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. We flew Bill Clinton and a lot of different. That was a humanitarian trip to Africa, and I met him on that trip because it was his plane. I didn't know who plane we was getting on, and you don't know people what they do in their private lives. So
you didn't never go to that island, did you?
No. I don't know where that thing at.
Chris Tucker didn't want to be the poster child for smoking weed. He don't smoke weed like that.
Right.
He in the church. He Michael Jackson's best friend. Christmas. Michael Jackson called him Christmas. You ever met a man that gave you a little nickname like that?
No.
Me neither.
Attending trips on the infamous Lolita Express, rubbing shoulders with controversial figures like Harvey Weinstein and John of God, all while maintaining their glossy public personas, leaving fans shocked, intrigued, and hungry to understand how deep this Hollywood network really goes. Things took an even stranger turn as celebrities seemingly began packing up and leaving the country, starting with Ellen DeGeneres, who reportedly relocated to the UK, sparking whispers that she wanted to distance herself from potential exposure and the growing storm around Epstein's network, while Richard Gere quietly sold his Connecticut property at a notable loss and moved to Spain with his family, a move that raised eyebrows in gossip circles about timing and intent. And Eva Longoria didn't stay behind either, shifting her primary residences to Spain and Mexico, selling her Beverly Hills mansion after multiple price reductions, all of which paints a picture of stars quietly disappearing from the public eye while leaving fans wondering if these moves are purely lifestyle choices or calculated exits from a world that suddenly feels far too revealing and dangerous. The fallout didn't stop at relocations.
You're gonna find the thing if you don't go away.
A lot of people saying that someone who seems so nice is not nice at all.
She doesn't seem nice, but that people have a very poor judge of character. She doesn't seem nice. It seems forced.
Social media and public perception started to shift dramatically, especially for Jay-Z, who saw a noticeable drop in followers after being tied to Epstein's alleged network, fueling speculation and online chatter, while his legal battles, including civil lawsuits, ended in dismissals with him maintaining a stance of victory, which only added fuel to the gossip fire.
They lost millions of followers after that shit.
No way.
They lost like shit. I think Jay-Z and them lost like 10 million followers between that bullshit.
See, I feel like I saw nothing but, and maybe it's just my algorithm of people defending them, but I didn't go into the rabbit hole.
They lost millions of followers.
Yeah.
Him and Beyonce.
Just the timeline just sounds so crazy. It just sounds really far-fetched though. Like,
but a lot of the followers be mad bots. So what if this was all intentional?
I mean,
you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Like,
might have been.
all right, what other things y'all see in the Epstein's stuff?
you know what I didn't see in that motherfucker? Obama. Obama
they
wanted
say it
that
was like
bitch.
3 million pages.
Yeah.
And then there's Oprah, whose massive influence over public opinion came under scrutiny as critics pointed out how her platform had once amplified controversial figures, providing cover and credibility, subtly shaping public perception, which makes you wonder just how much of Hollywood's glittering image is carefully curated versus strategically protective of secrets, leaving fans questioning the truth behind the fame and influence they've always admired so blindly.
You're 7 years old and someone is stroking your penis. It feels good.
Right.
Even though you don't have a name for what that is, it feels good.
I always blamed myself. Even though intellectually I would say to other kids, I would speak to people and say, oh, the child is never to blame. You're never responsible for molestation in your life.
I still believed I was responsible somehow, that I was a bad girl.
And the story takes an even darker turn when you examine Epstein's social and travel network, where the infamous Lolita Express becomes central, carrying high-profile figures like Kevin Spacey, Bill Clinton, Chris Tucker, and Naomi Campbell on trips to Africa and Asia. And what's chilling is that these weren't just casual vacations. Celebrities allegedly provided cover for exploitation, their status acting as a shield, while flight logs meticulously documented movements linked to victims, creating a network that blended privilege with secrecy, making it nearly untouchable. And as we piece together these connections, it's clear that Hollywood's glamour often masked a disturbing web of influence and complicity, leaving viewers both shocked and desperate to understand who else was involved behind the scenes of this carefully curated facade. Now, as the leaked files continue to surface, the predictions everyone whispered about are coming true, with celebrities fleeing to new countries, quietly selling homes, and reshaping their lives while the public scrambles to piece together what it all means. And this is exactly why paying attention to patterns of behavior matters so much. Because when you connect the dots between flights, social circles, and strategic silence, a much bigger picture emerges about how influence and secrecy operate in Hollywood. And we want to hear from you. What do you think about these revelations? Who else might be involved? And are we just scratching the surface? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe to Taya Kayla Knows for all the latest updates.